Fala galera, beleza? Bora ver um vídeo? O vídeo se chama. Deixa eu ver aqui. O que fazer em vez de ficar rolando o feed? É porque meu YouTube ele traduz. Ele começou a traduzir automaticamente. Eu odeio isso. Mas é um vídeo que tem dublagem, entendeu? Só que eu coloquei tudo em inglês mesmo.
So, you're bored for 5 minutes. What's the first thing you do?
Se você está. Quando você está entediado por 5 minutos, qual que é a primeira coisa que você faz? Eu pego no telefone e vou fazer alguma coisa. Ou coloco o YouTube e continuo mexendo no telefone.
You pick up your phone, you
Yeah.
unlock it without even thinking, scroll for a bit, and somehow an hour disappears. It doesn't feel like that much in a moment, but here's the crazy thing. The average teenager spends almost 5 hours per day on social media, which is nearly a third of their waking life. That's after school, after homework, after literally everything else you have to do. And just imagine what you could do with even just a fraction of that time. So here are 8 things you can do that are actually fun, surprisingly useful, and way more rewarding than another hour of scrolling. Let's get into it. First up is start a personal challenge. You know those YouTube videos
Então, pra você parar de ficar rolando, escolhe o desafio.
where people do these completely ridiculous challenges, like living in a grocery store for 100 days or surviving on some deserted island? Obviously, we don't need
Mas
to do
aí
anything that extreme, but I do think
desafio
these
idiota, né?
videos stumbled onto something, which is that turning something into a challenge makes it way more engaging. And we can actually set our own little challenges. So recently, I've been learning to code, and I gave myself this simple challenge, which is to
Igual meu desafio é, por dia, estudar inglês, todos os dias. Eu sempre tenho que achar algum tempo, pelo menos, pra estudar. E é isso. O que tá sendo diariamente é isso.
code for 1 hour every day for a week.
Mas vai chegar um tempo que vai ser isso aí. Codar todo dia, porque antigamente eu estudava todo dia, codando todo dia e eu parei.
Now, of course, this doesn't have to be coding for you. The cool thing is that you can turn pretty much anything into a challenge. And to make it really easy, here's a simple formula that you can use, which is to pick an activity, then set a daily goal, and give yourself a set amount.
Tá, escolhe uma atividade, meta diária de... Uma meta diária, tipo assim, 2 horas por dia, 1 hora por dia. E a duração. Não, a duração é 2 horas por dia. Daily goal deve ser, tipo, fazer diariamente.
Amount of time to stick with it. For example, that might be learning 10 French words every day for a week. Or maybe don't use your phone during the first hour after waking up for 5 consecutive days.
Ah, tá, sim. Então, não. O segundo é a quantidade de horas mesmo. Só que o terceiro é a duração que vai permanecer esse desafio. Então, tipo assim, igual esse que eu tô fazendo, é 365 dias. Então é um ano inteiro. Não que no 366 eu vou parar de fazer vídeo ou eu vou parar de estudar inglês. Não é o caso. Na verdade, eu nem sei o que vai acontecer, mas eu acho que não vou parar. Achou. Talvez o vídeo para e eu faço semanalmente uma recapitulação da semana. Mas diariamente, pelo menos meia hora, 1 hora, entendeu?
Days. And who knows, it might be the start of a new habit or the beginning of learning a new skill. I'm curious, what challenge are you going to set for yourself? Let me know in the comments, I might even steal some of your ideas. Next up is create something. Honestly, we spend so much time consuming things, whether that's TikToks, Netflix, even your Jen's school textbook. But we spend surprisingly little time actually making something ourselves, whether that's writing something or painting or making pancakes. And it's actually never been easier to get started. There are literally thousands of tutorials online that you can follow. I literally searched up something like how to draw Harry Potter and followed the tutorial, and I ended up with this drawing.
YouTube, se você souber mexer, é uma escola, velho.
And I was looking at it thinking like, wait, I actually made that?
Ficou bom.
And honestly, I found it such a relaxing way to spend an afternoon. And the coolest part is that every time you create something, you get a little bit better and you can literally just see yourself improve. Now, the third one is upgrade your study space. Most of us spend literally hundreds of hours studying every year. So why not make our study space somewhere we actually enjoy spending time? Now, my desk has definitely been through a few phases. I think probably the worst phase was when it looked like this. Anyways, we don't talk about that. But the other day, I decided to give my desk a little upgrade. And it's nothing crazy, honestly. I just got a little plant, a nice lamp, and just cleared away random stuff I didn't need. And it really just made me want to sit down and study a lot more. And you don't really need one of those like crazy desk setups you see all over YouTube. I mean, mine definitely doesn't look like that. The goal is just to create a space that just feels nice to spend time in. So if you've got half an hour this weekend, consider clearing your desk or adding a small plant or even just putting your books upright. Next up is do today's Wordle. This is probably the most random suggestion on the list, but I absolutely love it. If you've never heard of it before, Wordle is a daily word puzzle that takes like 2 minutes to solve. And the goal is to guess the word in as few attempts as possible. It's honestly such a fun activity to do with friends or family, and it almost becomes like
Eu esqueci, tem um jogo desse aqui que faz diariamente. É termo o nome.
this little competition to see who gets it in the fewest attempts. Now, if Wordle isn't really your thing, there are tons of other puzzles out there as well, whether that's chess puzzles or Sudokus or learning how to solve a Rubik's Cube. Whatever it is, it's just a really nice way to actually get your brain to work a little instead of just passively consuming content. Number 5 is join a competition. Honestly,
Entre em uma competição.
one
Join
of
a
the best
competition.
decisions I ever made was joining a math competition. Now, that might sound a bit weird, but I'd always enjoyed doing math, but competing really changed something. It got me surrounded by people who were just as excited about doing these problems as I was. And before I knew it, I was spending my Saturdays grinding difficult math problems. And that's not really because I had to, but more because I actually really wanted to. Now, you might be thinking, okay, she's a bit crazy. I don't even like maths. The cool thing is that there are competitions in pretty much anything you can think of, whether that's writing, debating, robotics, or chess. The list literally goes on forever. And I think for me, the best part wasn't necessarily like winning anything, but it's more that competitions can give you something to work towards. And they introduce you to people who care about the same things as you do. And that alone can make a hobby so much more rewarding. So if there's something you're already into, just search it up, followed by the word competition. And don't worry if you're just starting out, you can often find competitions that are really easy to get started with. Next up is organize your digital school files. Have you ever spent like 10 minutes looking for that chapter summary or your notes the night
É o notebook da Redmi.
before a test, only to realize it's called something like document 17, buried somewhere between 100 random files on your computer? How about we spend half an hour fixing this? And probably the easiest way is to create one folder called school. And then inside that, make one folder for each subject and move your files to where they actually belong. And you'll end up with this nice, neat, organized place where you can actually find everything. Honestly, it's weirdly satisfying to do. And it also might save you a lot of hours of panic and headache later. Next up is journaling. I started doing this quite recently and it's been super mind clearing. And the way I kind of look at it is that your brain, on most days, is like a computer running 50 tabs all at once. It could be school stuff, or something someone said, or just random stuff you're worried about. And all these things are kind of just sitting in the background and taking up a lot of mental energy. And journaling is a bit like closing off all these tabs. You get your thoughts out of your head and onto paper. And there is no one right way to do it, but personally, I love to just do a brain dump. Whatever's in my head, I just get it down onto the paper. And then I write down my action points. So
Tá, esse brain dump é adicionar tudo que ela tá pensando e no papel. Metas de ação, talvez, não sei.
basically what I'm going to do about it. And the cool part is that once it's actually written down, you can look at it way more objectively than if it were just floating in your head. Like something that felt super huge, urgent, panicky at 11 p.m. can suddenly look a lot smaller when it's just like a few lines of text. And last but not least is explore your future. Honestly, we spend so much time thinking about our next exams, homework, deadlines, but we don't actually spend that much time thinking about the life we're actually studying for. So every now and then, I like to explore what's out there. And one of my favorite ways to do that is by watching day in the life vlogs. So the other day, I watched one about a college student, and another one was about a software engineer. And I just
Também gosto de assistir, é muito bom. Legal que você vê o trajeto inteiro, né? Que eles querem mostrar, é claro, mais um trajeto inteiro do dia. E aí você tem mais ou menos uma noção. Ainda mais quando você tá aprendendo um idioma novo, ele ver daily vlogs é muito bom.
found it super interesting to see what other
Porque tem conversas rotineiras, entendeu?
people are up to and what they do in a day and what their routines are. So these were 8 things you can do when you are bored and scrolling TikTok. Hopefully these gave you some inspiration. Comment below which one you vibe.
É isso aí. Resumindo. Tá entediado, vai fazer outra coisa. Resolve o cubo mágico aí e é isso aí.